SF Superman Legacy teaser from '5. Jacob Hadley and Ben Affleck. So what film royalty has to say about this, and check this out.
Along with the news about Gunn's DCU, Marvel Studios' MCU counterpart, some Superman news came through which suggests that a Superman reboot has already been scheduled, which was enough for me to dig deep and take a first look together with you into the entire thing, tell you everything I know so far, and give you some insight as to what could be coming up next for the Man of Steel. Over the last couple of years, especially this last year, there have been many changes regarding the character of Superman. Does it ring any bells? Well, don't you worry. That is why I'm here today. For instance, the actor which has been the closest to being the symbol of hope, or the one mostly connected to it, was Henry Cavill. And I am saying that he was, because he is no longer the infamous Superman. He announced around a month ago that he will finally be hanking up the cape and tights, despite his return in a post-credit scene of the latest DC movie, Black Adam. It all sounds confusing, I know. But a lot of things have changed due to James Gunn's announcement that he made a deal with Warner Bros. To create a DCU, a live-action universe, similar to what Marvel Studios managed to do with its MCU, or something along the lines. But with characters from DC Comics, of course. For many years, there was a debate about whether Henry Cavill will return to the role or not, which was mainly inspired by the fact that, according to his deal with the character, he had one more project to appear in, or a sequel, I should say. But sadly, that project never came through. It would have, but it never did because of the upcoming DCU live-action universe that Gunn will be building in the next few years. Speaking of which, from what I managed to discover and dig up, Gunn intends to make a Superman movie featuring a younger Clark Kent, who just started out his career at the Daily Planet. A movie, as of now, titled Superman Secret Origin. The title is not fully confirmed yet, but rather a rumored one, which is why you should take this information with a grain of salt, as it could amount to nothing, and the title could be changed in many ways. The important thing about the project at hand is the fact that the script for the movie has already started, which is good news of its own, meaning that Gunn already has something on his mind as to where the movie will go when it gets released. There's still no clear indication if Gunn and fellow DC Studios CEO Peter Safran has hit that like button just like you should if you haven't done so already. But no, rather a plan to fully reboot DC Cinematic Universe. But it's very clear that they are going back to the roots with the Man of Steel. The good thing about this shift is the fact that there is no shortage of source material whatsoever, which can be seen by the fact that no more than 2 or 3 years go past without DC having some kind of a plan for a new take on Superman's origin story in formative years. And it is some of these comic book stories that rank among the best and most influential ones when the character of Superman is taken into account. Now, I should note that despite the planned reboot of sorts, I doubt that Gunn will do a direct adaptation of any one particular Superman comic, despite the project already having a working title that, as I said before, is just a work in progress kind of a thing, which is also why there are so many ways the upcoming movie could go. I'm here to tell you a little about each and every one of those storylines. They could all take place according to my educated guess. And without further ado, let's dive in. As much as it was meant to be a fresh start for the character, the new 52-volume Action Comics is also a return to Superman's Golden Age roots. This storyline envisions Superman as a crusading vigilante who spends much of his time facing the corrupt landlords and abusive husbands, all the while protecting Metropolis from all kinds of alien invasions. He wears a homemade costume and is mainly connected to the battles of ordinary life, both as a superhero and a rookie journalist. And although Clark slowly but surely comes to grips with his heritage and grows into a more traditional version of the character, the storylines tell a tale about the character that still makes him as humble as he can be, and one who is strongly against bullies, whether they're criminals or interdimensional aliens. The first Superman origin story to be published after Superman's debut in the Smallville TV series was the storyline called Superman Birthright. And let me tell you, the influence of the TV show can really be seen, particularly in the focus given toward the unlikely friendship between Clark Kent and Lex Luthor. The most unique thing about this comic book run was the equal emphasis on Clark Kent, the journalist, and the Kal-El, the superhero, with the entire storyline reminding us that Clark is so much more than just a cover identity for an all-powerful alien, and that Clark can be a hero for all people, and not only the ones residing in Metropolis. One interesting take on the character is the storyline named Superman Secret Identity, which is also the most interesting one, as it is the best Superman comic not set in the DC universe, and a place where I see the potential for the upcoming Gunn adaptation of the character, seeing how it's somewhat of a fresh start for the character at the live action side of things. Clark Kent, featured in this comic book run, lives in a world with no superhumans, and where Superman is nothing more than a comic book character, much like our world. The story is unusually grounded, in which Clark struggles more than a smash to the subscribe button and ringing of the notification bell. But no, in reality, he struggles more with keeping his identity safe from journalists and military operatives than battling supervillains. Now, I know what you'll say about the entire thing, and what a DCU Superman would be if there are no serious threats of supervillains. But even if Gunn decides to take into consideration this comic book storyline, it can loosely be adapted, much like what many of Marvel's MCU comic book adaptations are nowadays, with the adaptation being what the MCU needs in order for the given storyline to fit the narrative of the story. This story, according to my opinion, could serve Gunn as a terrific example of how to humanize such a larger-than-life character, something that proved to be somewhat of a problem in the past, and something that bothered some of the fans, solely because of just how big of a character Clark Kent, aka Superman, is right now. The most interesting take, which could prove to be the right one for the future of Man of Steel, at least according to the working title, is the comic book storyline of the same name, Superman Secret Origin. This attempt from writer Jeff Johns and artist Gary Frank crafts a definitive young Superman story, and it's one storyline that draws a lot on the hero's classic Silver Age adventures. Secret Origin is unique in the way that it opposes the trend of many previous Origin retellings, bringing back elements like Clark's teenage adventures as Superboy and his friendship with the time-traveling Legion of Superheroes. The series manages to elegantly work in several of Superman's biggest rogues, including some of the most iconic villains of the DC universe, Lex Luthor, Metallo, as well as Parasite. The only trope that this storyline avoids is the Krypton side of things, which goes well with the effort from both Johns and Frank centering away from Superman's home planet in favor of exploring his childhood in Smallville and the early months of Clark Kent's life in Metropolis. All in all, with everything said and done, following 2013's heavy approach on Krypton in Man of Steel, this might be just what the character needs in the reboot, and something the DCU could easily adapt upon moving forward, with Clark Kent having all sorts of connections when others discover Superman, and him living in Metropolis in secret. Something that will, according to my opinion, successfully reintroduce Superman on the big screen, with a new face in the role, of course. See you in the next video.
Please subscribe, like this video, great, and I like this video, and see you guys, bye.